until I understood about changing your diet, changing your food, changing your health, I thought it was all the other stuff. And it is our presence, our attention. The currency in our lives is our attention. And that's what our kids need. But I really did not understand the role of nutrition. And I'm so glad that I did, because I caught it while they were at home with me a little bit.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to my channel. I'm Rochelle, the Real Life Carnivore. Super happy to have you guys back here. Today, I have a really special guest. She's a super woman, like super mom. She is a really dear friend of mine. She is one of the reasons why I have not only gone carnivore, but stayed carnivore. And I'm really excited for her to share her story with you. I'm really excited for her to share her wisdom around carnivore and family with you. So if you please join me in welcoming Miss Emily Hart. Good
Oh,
morning,
thank you,
Emily. How are
Rochelle.
you?
I love you. Thank you so much for having me.
I love you too. Well, let's just start by you sharing your story. Why did you go carnivore? How long have you been carnivore? And what is it like living a carnivore lifestyle?
I am so excited because I've passed my 3.5 years carnivore anniversary. Like, I'm right at that brink right now. And so I love carnivore is so important to me. It's been such a life changer in every way that I like to round up. And so I've even started to say, well, I'm almost a 4-year carnivore. So we'll just say I'm almost a 4-year carnivore. So yeah, I mean, my life turned around in 2017. I was, 46 years old. And my mom journey is just integral part of all of this. My motivation, my whys, when I think about when we're on a health journey and we're transforming and we're committing to a different way of eating that's really different from all the people around us, you have to keep a strong why. And whenever anybody asks me my whys, I think 1, 2, 3, 4. Noah, Lauren, Audrey, Carson, boom. Those are my whys. Those are my whys in every day of everything that I do in my life. And it's a miraculous thing that happens when you become a mom that just becomes, I mean, you don't know till you know, but when you're a parent and that baby, you fall in love with them, everything circles back to them. So, I will tell some parts of my story that were very integrally tied to my children. So, in my own health journey, I had been involved with, food addiction, carb addiction from a very young age. Food equals love. The anchors in my life equals carbs, donuts, church food. My grandpa was a pastor. I didn't have a lot of security in my childhood. In my personal childhood, I was shifted around family to family. I went through a lot of trauma, went through a lot of abuse, and the anchors in my life were my grandparents, my aunts, my uncles, and which was, I'm so thankful. I'm so thankful. Part of their lifestyle was to nourish and give and show love with food. Still valid. I show my love with food. I just show it with steaks and all the amazing recipes and things like that. So I do the same thing. That's how we care for people, but we just, didn't know that these foods were so damaging, all these ultra processed foods, sugars, carbs, things like that. So I got into a world of hurt, dieted, up and down, depression, Prozac, antidepressants, suicidal. My mental health, I did not understand that what I ate determined my mental health. And so I think that, I struggled a lot just myself with eating bad foods and going overweight and up and down the scale, every diet possible. And when I became a mom at 31, even more so, it just upped the ante, because now I'm not just feeding myself and my husband, I'm feeding my babies. This is so important. So My transformation really didn't come until I was in my mid to late 40s. I had been up at 300 pounds several different times throughout my life. Healthy weight for me is in the 150 to 180-ish area. And, so I was way, way beyond what was healthy for my body and my frame, and was feeling low energy, mental health issues that came with the weight up and down, that came with using food as my comfort, using food as that. And so by the time I'd gotten to 46, I was having mobility issues. I was having massive depression. I was having a hard time getting off the couch. Hard time. I had 4 kids at this point. Motherhood and being there for them has always been like my hugest priority. And I just couldn't. I wasn't able to be the mom that I wanted to be. Was looking at getting a surgery. I thought somehow cutting half my stomach off and doing a sleeve was going to solve this issue. What was my motivation for my surgery? To be a good mom, to be there for my kids, to be there for that long haul journey for them. And in my mind, I thought, well, I was desperate. I would do whatever. And a friend of mine told me about the Obesity Code by Dr. Jason Fung, which had come out, I believe, in 2015. So I was a little bit late to that party. I didn't hear about it until 17. Read it voraciously, cover to cover, canceled my appointment. I was all set to go on the surgical road because I thought surgically changing my digestive system was somehow going to solve my problems with food. I know now it wouldn't have anyways. It would not have worked long term. Learned that my problem was a hormone problem, was an insulin problem. Learned that food is a messenger. Learned the power of fasting. Learned how to fast well. And so then I embarked on a slow journey of weight loss, where over a matter of 4 years, lost 150 pounds, got to a healthy weight range for myself. And during that last part of that was carnivore. So I had lost the first 100 pounds with keto and fasting. I did not have the food freedom. I did not have enough nourishment. That was not enough nutrient dense food for an Emily. So when I went carnivore in 2021, that was the missing piece for me. That was what I needed for food freedom, mental health, and to be the best mom I could. And I had learned about along this line about metabolic health. And so it was 2021. I was into my journey, and I continued to lose weight, get healthier, lost another 50 pounds on the carnivore diet, and felt amazing. Was able to move, exercise, have good energy, have strongest mental health I've ever had, which went over to my mom journey. So a lot of why I got involved in food nutrition and understanding like a ketosis, what a ketogenic diet can do for somebody, is that I had kids that seemed to be on the spectrum. And I had read different books that had said the power of food nutrition ketosis in that journey neurologically, that when you take carbs and sugars and processed foods out, dip into ketosis, what changes in your minds and in your neurons. And so my kids were about teenagers at that point. So this is at a peak of crisis for them, of going through hormonal changes, and some of them already showing that they'd had some. Our young people today have, a lot of them maybe have a component of Asperger's or autism. Maybe they have anxiety, they have depression, they have, they're just dealing with so many things. And my mom journey is I had, always just looking out for them and trying to protect them as much as I could. I've done a lot of homeschooling throughout my journey, which has sort of, given me more influence in their nutrition, more influence in what kinds of things they're thinking about and what kind of pressure they're under. So that has always been part of the picture for me. But it was my ultimate win and goal, was to fix my food, get my food in a good spot so that I could model that for my children. And I'm so thankful I was able to do that, because by the time I had started on the fasting keto, which would lead to carnivore journey, my kids were getting close to being young adults. And so now we're a good bit later. I started in 17. And so we're 7 years later. They are young adults. My kids are young adults. And I have one kid at home still. I have one that I'm homeschooling. He's 12, Carson. And my young adults are still at home, which I love. So they're starting their professional lives, and they're starting their, work lives and college and all these kinds of things. So big, long story, but huge transformation. The heart of my journey has been my kids, trying to do the best I could for my family. And it's just been a theme that just continues to ride through my entire life. And I believe will be until I take my last breath.
Wow, 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 wow. And I mean, if there's just so, I just have so many questions for you. And I just think you're such an amazing mom. And it sounds to me like your kind of your point was if you started taking care of your body, it was going to help you take care of your children. Is that correct?
I mean, I didn't realize that. I thought until I understood about changing your diet, changing your food, changing your health, I thought it was all the other stuff. And it is our presence, our attention. The currency in our lives is our attention. And that's what our kids need. But I really did not understand the role of nutrition. And I'm so glad that I did because I caught it while they were at home with me a little bit. And so this is what we do as moms. We grow together, we mature together, and we don't know better. We do better once we know better. And so as moms, we change that as we transform ourselves, then we can give that to our children as well. So I feel so appreciative that I got a window of me being my best, my nutritional best, my mental health best while they were with me. But yeah, I think it's hugely impactful and important that so they need so much in their growth and development, but nutrition is, a huge cornerstone and anchor for their development. Absolutely.
Well, let's talk about that. How did you have that conversation with your children? How did you approach them about carnivore? Did you approach them about carnivore? Were they receptive or did they reject it? How did you talk to them about it?
Yeah, it's kind of funny because our introduction would have been keto, and so it would have been sort of a different. It was very plant oriented keto. There was some meat in there, but I was all about the spinach, the curcumin, the trying to think of all these almonds, almond milk, almond flour, keto things made out of all these that I look at right now. I'm like, oh, they're an oxalate storm. So the conversation for me was starting to learn about that you don't actually need to feed your kids every 2 hours. It's okay as they get older and develop. Obviously, baby, that's a whole different story. But down the road, when they're, going through those, if they naturally are going to go through times where they're not hungry, we don't have to just shove food down their face all the time. And so helping them to be open to their natural appetite and not trying to disrupt that. That's been a huge anchor with that started. And yeah, I mean, I think that since my kids were older, when I had my health personal revolution, they had their own habits that I had kind of created, and that, we had popcorn for dinner a lot, at least once a week. We had cereal. I kept cereal around. Whole grain, heart healthy, American Heart Association approved cereal, and so there were a lot of things that I had to undo and unravel. And I started gently with my environment. Well, then kind of I get excited about something a little, maybe too over enthusiastic. But let me tell you something. I can keep my home as clean as possible, and they will still have plenty of opportunities to try their own way with all that food that's out there in their own time, how they want to. It's absolutely their own journey. So what I have done as the mom, as our family homes, I've just kept our home very clean. And so I've kept the air fryers available. I've taught them how to make a good steak in the air fryer, make chicken wings. And I constantly am playing around with recipes to make things that are super palatable for kids. Um, so you have that part of the environment. And so as I cleaned up my environment, I cleaned up my entire home environment, knowing that there's always going to be good nutrition for them at home. And that kind of comes back to like the crowding out. So I focus less on that's evil, don't eat that, don't eat that. Of course, I get my frustrations with it. I have my opinions about it, but I focus more on let's put together an incredible feast that is super nutrient dense. So I've done things like, I think about Super Bowl foods like meatballs and wings and, variety. So I keep variety in color and texture and in offerings. I keep that going, and I'm surprised. There are so many times that we can put together a beautiful carnivore feast if you have enough variety in that. They don't even notice, and they're happy to eat a completely nutritionally sound meal. So yeah, it's been a lot of thinking, purchasing, pre-contemplation, filling up my cupboards, filling up my freezer, making the cooking available, teaching them how to do the cooking, that my kids can make a lot of different carnivore meals, that they have those skill sets now, that they're not going to head off into the world and be like, I don't know how to cook a steak. That's not going to happen.
Okay, I love that you're preparing your children for the real world, because I think that is kind of our whole purpose. Like, yes, we want to nourish them and nurture them and educate them and give them opportunities to fail and fall so that they can learn from those I don't even like to call them mistakes, but from the fails and the falls. That's
Experiences,
how that's
yes.
how we learn.
Life experience.
Yeah, that's how we learn, and that's how we grow, and that's how we develop our character and our resilience. I wanted to ask you, how did you approach them observing themselves? Like, do you encourage them to observe how they feel after they eat carnivore versus non-carnivore? How does that go for you?
1,000%, but it is such trepidatious and cautious territory. People's food is personal. It's so personal. And so how they eat and what they're doing is delicate. It really is. And so those are conversations that I have very carefully and cautiously. So we talk about food, we talk about, understanding. I tend to explain the science to them. I love to understand carnivore metabolism and carnivore nutrition from a scientific standpoint. So lots of times my conversations are going to go there, but it's one of these things when you're working with your kids, young adults, anybody, you have to watch for signs that they're interested. You have to watch for like when they're zoning out and they're just really don't want to hear what you're saying anymore. So I'm very sensitive to the mood and the tone. But yeah, I mean, I have mentioned that food connection, they know that food connection so much so that, they'll oftentimes be like, I've just been eating too much junk. I need some real food. And when they say when they need real food, they mean meat. They don't mean vegetables. They don't mean fruits. They mean meat. And so, I teach them to learn to those different hungers. Thankfully, they still do have a hunger for that. The body has such a strong need for that. I would say right now, my kids are not carnivore. They are very meat based. My daughters have gone through periods of time where they've tried carnivore. We have a lot of food allergies in our family, so we're always kind of working around those food allergies too. My daughter has celiac, so I think that I do absolutely encourage them to listen to their bodies and see how different things make them feel. And then, for us, I don't really restrict at holidays, at parties, at things like that. And so there's always going to be Halloween coming around or Valentine's Day coming around or something. There's going to be some event that they're going to eat something that is really different than what the normal home stuff is. And I can see it and they can see it. They sleep crappy, they'll get sick. And so then I think that helps put that direct association with the particular foods and that are damaging their body. So it's hard because I can speak so frankly with you, Rochelle, like you get it. You understand that other food is poison. We can say openly and freely, plants are trying to kill you, plant causes ovarian system. We can say that stuff. Now I tone it down with my family because my kids are in a big world with tons of voices out there. And so I don't want to be that voice that is so out there that they say mom's invalid. There's already enough of that they're at the age where they think they probably know better than most people around them. And so I don't need to like perpetuate that image by being like some know-it-all that's saying like, well, you need to stop eating poison. They know that's what I think. They know that's my opinion. But when it comes to their individual choices, I am so cautious and, really want to respect their journey and where they're at and their own experiment with their own health and their own nutrition and let that be their journey. And I am absolutely there to help them and support them and show them the way if they are interested.
I think this is a really loving way to approach this. I feel like a lot of people are extremely dogmatic about the way that they're eating. And yes, you and I have very strong opinions about certain foods, certain food groups, certain ways of eating. We know what has worked for us, we know what has not worked for us. And I'm curious if a part of you, maybe the reason why you are so gentle with approaching your children about this is because you also don't want to create a disordered way of eating with this, because you mentioned for yourself that you had a bit of a disordered eating background with like sugar and carb addiction. Can you speak a little bit more to that, Emily?
Massive. It was my go-to. It was my friend. It was like I had a relationship and it was a toxic relationship. But you know how toxic relationships are. There's a cycle of abuse. There's the honeymoon period. There's a period that you think everything's great. You're up and down and up and down. And so I completely had a out of control addiction. And it was hidden. I kept it secret. It wasn't, it wasn't exactly secret in that there was something that was wrong with my nutrition, because you don't get to be 150 pounds overweight without that being, without there being a problem there. So I love what you're saying about protecting their journey too, and wanting them to not fear food, just to fear having an unhealthy relationship with food. And it's kind of like, who am I to say about the abstainer moderator perspective? I do have one of my kids who appears to maybe be able to be very healthily on that moderator road. And I have a couple that I can identify with, that I relate with, that I think, well, they might be better off on that abstainer road. That might just be a much better fit for them. But I can't see that. They're so unique. I've got four of them and they are each so individual and unique and different, have so many different talents and gifts and have so many different struggles. And so, yeah, I think that wanting my girls, especially, this was my priority with my young women, is I did not want them to fear fat. I didn't really even want them thinking about like their bodies or being obsessed with their bodies. And so I was pretty careful about images, about the way I talk about my body. Very important. Um, I was really encouraging of them to be strong if they wanted that strength. Like they went through a real phase. All three of us, this was when COVID was happening. We had a home gym and we all just like started hitting it and getting the muscles going. And they got really excited about, like, I have prom pictures of them with this, like doing these muscle poses with just these awesome, strong. And so both of my girls got super interested in being stronger. And they've had the body image stuff and the clothing. We've gotten really into dressing for your body type. And we're not all a Barbie body type, okay? And so we can't all like walk into the store and get like a pencil dress and look amazing. And so,
Correct.
I've explored a lot of the parts of beauty with nourishing yourself, nourishing your skin. Hormonal is a big skin health thing. Gut health is going to come out in the skin. And so that's been part of my conversation of like, if they're having kind of an acne issue or a breakout, well, let's take a look and see what was going with your nutrition, because that has such a direct impact in that. Um, and so it's been a journey of making peace with your body and not pursuing health just to be skinny and just to be have like this weird media image that comes out there that is just like you're only powerful as a woman or sexy as a woman or whatever if you have this certain shape. But being sensitive too that there's these other messages out there too right now that like everybody's struggling metabolically, and so everybody is massively, massively overweight, and we're normalizing that. Well, we can't normalize disease. We can't normalize a bad relationship with food. So it's learning How to completely love and accept normal bodies. My girls they're shaped kind of like me. They are not, they're very healthy. They're healthy, vibrant, strong. And so that's always kind of been like my focus with them, is trying to mentor them with a healthy relationship with food. Recognize there probably going to be some people that if you have a little bit of this poison, toxic sugar food, it's going to turn into a huge issue in your life, and you're going to have to walk through that journey. They're going to have to walk through that journey. If they get themselves in that hole, I am there as a resource. So yeah, I think it's just been, I don't want them to fear certain foods. I don't want them to fear, but I just want them to know that you have to have that nutritional base first, that self-love, accepting the body that you're in, loving the skin that you're in, and accepting the whole part of you. And then, that you're going to love yourself enough that you give yourself the right nutrition, and that those things work together. They are symbiotic. When you give yourself the nutrition, you love yourself more. And they both are working towards a strong, healthy situation in your mind and in your body.
You are such a great mom, Emily. Like, I, I don't think you know how much I look up to you with the way that you talk to your kids, the way you approach things and handle things. You are just such a beautiful, loving person. And it just really encourages me to hear you sharing this, because I know if I'm hearing this and feeling encouraged and inspired, I know it's going to help and encourage and inspire other women as well. There was something
Mm-hmm.
that you shared that really jumped out at me here. You said you don't want your daughters to fear fat. Can you talk a little bit more about that?
Oh,
Fat
absolutely.
fear,
Oh
cute,
my
cute.
gosh. Well, we can just fangirl for a little minute here on Dr. Bright. She has written two incredible books. She may have written more, but two that I know of right now. And I know she's got more coming. And so she just really explains to us how hormonally healthy it is to have a high fat animal based diet. And so I really understood that a lot from her book about understanding menopause. And then she recently wrote a book for young adults, and for young women, young men, that we need to have we can't scare having a high fat carnivore diet for our hormones. And so I know that that's so embedded in my knowledge base right now. And I've learned so much from Dr. Bright. And we, obviously talk about her a lot in our community. I just wanted my girls to move forward knowing that fat is what fights inflammation. Fat is, Dr. Kiltz talks about how it actually like kills microbes in our body, and all these diseases and issues that are happening in our body that are the bad bacteria or the bad gut microbe, that fat quells all of that. And then it sets the stage for our hormones to work correctly and to not be interfered with so much of this, all the processed food and sugar that gets things going on a cellular mishap or train wreck. So yeah, I wanted to make sure that they embraced, if it's the fatty meat, great. If it's eggs with cholesterol, I love Georgia Ede talks about in her book that just came out, change your diet, change your mind, where she talks about that cholesterol, saturated fat, the importance of what that does, healing hormones. So I feel like for young women, it's going to help with their PMS. It's going to help them to avoid PCOS. All of these issues that we're getting when our hormones are wonky because we've been feeding a bad diet from the time they've been, in the womb. And so it's correctable, it's reversible. And I think that there's still some thoughts out there that butter is bad, that fat is fattening. We're so scared. We're scared of having well-shaped bodies, womanly bodies with womanly curves. We're scared of, gaining weight. And I just look at this and I just think this is the missing link, is that we need to get the processed food out, and we need the meat and we need the fat. That's what girls need mentally. This is what our healthy neurotransmitters and what our good thinking is based on, having a healthy diet. And so young women need this more than anyone. And so I just wanted to encourage my girls to, and just embrace having that fat and making them fatty things, having them enjoy that, and not fearing that, because it's what's going to keep their hormones sound, and what's going to keep their mental health sound, and what's going to help them transition through all these different developing as they develop into young women.
Well, and it's really important that we touch on this too, because like for me, when I had mood disorders when I was a young woman and just coming into womanhood, starting my cycle and whatnot, I mean, my cycle was all over the place. Why? Because I ate a heavily carb-based diet, very low fat. And what did the doctor do? Put me on the birth control pill. Oh, this will help regulate
Yes.
your
Oh,
cycle.
yeah. Oh, we'll
No.
just plug a hormone in you. Let's plug some outside hormones to solve this. Yeah, totally.
Exactly. And what it actually did was exacerbate things and didn't address the root cause. Not once did they talk to me about how is your diet? What are you eating? It was the standard American diet. You need 5 to 10 servings of fruits and vegetables a day, 5 to 10 servings of grains a day, and like 1 to 2 servings of meat and 1 serving of fat. And I was just like, okay. Now that I look back at that, I'm like, no wonder kids and like, I mean, your children are blessed because they're going through homeschool, which is what I plan to do with my children. But we had to go through puberty in public school. And you
Mhm.
combine public school and puberty and hormone dysregulation because of poor diet, that is like a recipe for disaster, in my humble opinion.
Well, it
What do you
is.
think about that?
Well, I mean, we see it everywhere, Rochelle. And my kids have been in and out. They've done, so I did a lot of homeschooling, but they've dabbled in and out. They've tried a lot of different things. My one daughter she did college in high school. She tried, they wanted to try high school. I'm like, okay, we can try it, whatever. And then, but she just hated it. She's like, I'm just going to go straight to the community college. I'm like, works for me. And so she graduated high school, also graduating with 2 years of college. But yes, so the food that are fed to our children in our institutions and our sick and our hospitalized and our nursing homes is criminal. It's absolutely criminal. And so on both spectrums. And so because on our aging adults, we've got dementia, Alzheimer, and we've got a diet that is just feeding that and giving them type 3 diabetes. And on our young women, we have the same thing. And any of our institutionalized, we've got all of this horrible food that is giving them hormonal problems, is giving them diabetes of the ovaries, PCOS. And so yeah, it's they're feeding basically poisonous foods as they're in this other environment. They've got so much stress coming on, and I'll just tell you, the peers of my kiddos are a wreck. They're all taking, well, they've got them on hormones, but they're all taking anti-anxiety, all kinds of different mental health medicines, different things. And, I'm not saying that that can't be useful for specific purposes to get people through transitions. It can be part of a nutritional therapy, but they're going straight to that. And the kids are just a wreck. Um, and my kids are anchors and our little havens of just kind of reaching out as what else are we going to do. It's beautiful. We're all on our journey. We're all kind of figuring this stuff out. But I think I love what you said about the perfect storm of environmental stressors, whatever, like if their schooling thing isn't the right school for them, isn't nourishing them, and then the peer pressure, the culture in general is so compromised right now and is hurting. And it's an exciting time to be a carnivore coach, because there's so much help that we can do in the world. There's so much impact that we can do in the world in these communities, and we're giving people something that is actually going to make a root cause difference. I love what you said about root cause. And so I think as moms, that's what we're looking out for. What's going on inside these roots, inside of what's happening with us. I love what you say as a coach, Rochelle. You talk about something, what you say, excavating, and what is that you say?
Oh, observing and excavating.
Okay. Observing and excavating, and that you kind of dig around those root issues, right? And I think that that's so important as moms and with our young adults. What are these root issues? Is nutrition a part of that root? Absolutely, 1000%. Is nutrition the only part of that root? Nope, not a chance. And so, but we do get this perfect storm of horrible nutrition, and which leads to cause these fundamental issues and these weaknesses in our mental health, spiritual health, social, family. And so I love what you're saying about that. It all compiles together to make it really hard just to be yourself. Isn't that what we really want? We just want to be ourselves.
Yeah. Yeah,
Just
we
want to
do.
be ourselves, accept ourselves, be in awesome social loving relationships, demonstrate that to our children, and help our kids develop that, help them develop good, healthy, nourishing relationships that it's like face to face sometimes, like not always just like this on a phone or whatever, that they're
Oh
getting
my gosh.
like that,
Yes.
like interactions that that nourish their soul and that help life worth living. We have an epidemic. Oh, I'm gonna cry about it. We have an epidemic of young
Yes.
people not wanting to live anymore, you know?
Mhm, mhm.
And I see that. That's in my kids' worlds. That's around the world. I've been there. I was there. I've been there several times. And so it's big stakes. It's big stakes of getting kids to be nourished, mentally sound, have the things that they need in our lives, and just helping mentor them through that. And that's I'm at the mentor phase. Carson, 12, I'm pretty active with him. I get to micromanage his life quite a bit. But my young adults, like, that chapter has passed, and now it's, how can I mentor them through this? But I just feel so thankful for the healthy, nourishing opportunities that I've been able to have with them through up until this point. My oldest he'll be 22 and my youngest is 12. That I have had a voice in their life, and that I've been able to, help them be as healthy as they can, considering the perfect storm of environment, social systems, horrible food and nutrition that they're in the midst of right now. They are in a battle zone, and I want to be that one in their corner, like helping them to advocate for their own health and in their life transitions.
And I think that's where we take our power back, is in having a voice to advocate for ourselves and having community and family who are willing to advocate for us. Would you agree with that, Emily?
Oh my gosh, it's everything. It's everything. And we have our born family, we have our chosen family, and we get to be a part of all of those worlds, right? And so, yeah, family dynamics, being there, listening to your kids, being as much of a listener as you are a talker and a teacher, because I like this saying that more is caught than taught. And so your child's journey begins with your journey. It begins with your health, and they watch that and they're looking, how does mom talk about her body? How does mom talk about her diet? Is she obsessed with being skinny, or does she want to be strong? Is she, loving and accepting? Does she dress in a way that is complementary for her unique body style out there, with the colors that make sense for her? And so as moms, we just get to do so much of that. We get to model for our sons what's it like to be a listening woman in their life. And we get to model what's it like to have a relationship, and what does that give and take like in a relationship. And so, yeah, we have so many opportunities every single day as moms. And so it's an incredible thing to be a part of, and to be a part of a family. Family is relationships, is where people grow. And those are the first relationships they have, is family. And so to the mamas that are doing that work, that is such valuable work. And we can forget that as moms. And you are changing the world. You are the world changer as the moms and dads and the families. Families are the foundation. And then we all learn from that. And then we as our families change and dynamics change, but we have those foundations that were everything.
Well, and I think that's the gift of why we've been given 2 ears and only one mouth. We are listen twice as much as we speak. And I mean, I always find I learn more by listening than by speaking. So take it from me as a big talker. I think it's really important to make sure that we're listening. Emily, as we're drawing to a close here, I would love for you to share, what are your top tips for a mom who's considering a meat-based lifestyle, carnivore lifestyle, how to talk to her kids, what would be your top tips for her?
Okay, so we're kind of selling things, right? And so it's just like, okay, as you figure out what is working and beautiful and nourishing in your life, it's kind of about the presentation and the packaging. That's a special gift that we have as moms, I think. And so my encouragement is don't force. We talk a lot in SBG about power versus force. And so, you can let these things happen naturally. Let your kids pay attention to how they are feeling. Package it as a fun thing. You can think creatively to make little tiny hamburgers or baby sliders or whatever. There's so many things, like use your mom creativity in the kitchen with the food. I love this trend that we do, and around Christmas time is we make, instead of gingerbread houses, we make little meat houses. And so there's a lot that you can do to kind of make it fun and variety with recipes. My biggest thing is just to give yourself grace. Give yourself so much grace. They're going to key off of that. And so don't be hard on yourself. Like, if you need to get something that has a little bit of an ingredient that isn't perfect, that's okay. If there's, some fruit that happens on their plate, or even a evil cracker or whatever, like, it's about making it fun, making it enjoyable, telling them the honest truth, giving them the truth about the situation and food. And yet, we are very social creatures. We're all in a lot of social situations. And so, giving them those tools that you have. And not being, I love what you said about you don't have to hit it perfect on the spot. This is a big situation that we're kind of in a strategic position in. And so strategy is going to be important, tone is going to be important. You cannot really control a lot. Control what you can control. You can control your environment. You do buy the groceries, you purchase them with your dollars. And so there's your choice right there. You are choosing what you're going to have around, that your kids are going to be involved with. So yeah, I just think that do the work on yourself first and let that spread to the kiddos. But keep it fun and keep it light. And yeah, keep your listening mom ears on, and use some ninja moves to get those good carnivore stuff snuck in your kids' diet.
I love it. And Emily, do you have any projects that you're working on that you'd like to share about? And how can people find you and connect with you?
Well, we are so fortunate, Rochelle, that our community is everything. It's just everything to me. So, sbgmeetup.com is where you're going to find me. I'm going to be hanging out there, coaching several days a week in a group coach setting. And that's the work that we are just loving and passionate about. We like to provide community support for mamas and parents and all the folks, that we can continue to just pool our knowledge resources, our experience resources. And yeah, we have our own family over there. So that's the best spot to where I like to hang out.
Do you have any projects, and do you want to share your Instagram and YouTube?
Yeah, so I love kind of watching what's going on there on Instagram. So I have an Instagram at Heal by Meat. I have a YouTube at Emily Harvo. Yeah, projects that I'm doing over there are I've been doing some lives, been checking in with friends, and just hosting and getting involved with this carnivore community. So those are great spots. And yeah, I'm available as a group coach in Bella's network. I'm available for one-on-one coaching. So there's a lot of things that I would love to just offer out in those ways. But yeah, you can best way to get a hold of me is in SB Gang for sure.
Wonderful. Well, Emily, you are a wealth of knowledge. I just absolutely love you so much. And I'm so grateful and thankful that you were willing to step out and have this conversation with me. I cannot thank you enough for it. Thank
Love you, Mama. Awesome, awesome talk.
you. Thank you. I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. I will link all of Emily's contact information below in the description box. You guys can go give her a like and a follow. The community that she's talking about, SBG Meetup. Steak and Butter Gang. That is the community where she and I hang out, and we coach there, and we live chat with people and offer them, one-on-one support and group support. It's an amazing, thriving community of carnivores, and we are there to meet you where you're at. So if you're thinking about carnivore, if you're even keto or ketovore or meat-based, even if you're vegan, we would love to welcome you into the community to just have a conversation. We're not there to convince you to do anything you don't want to do, but we are there to just share information and testimonials about what we have seen and what others have seen. And when there are tens of thousands of people joining you, it kind of indicates that something is going in the right direction. If you want to get in touch with Emily, all of her contact information will be below. If you haven't done so already, please don't hesitate to like and subscribe to my channel. You can click the little notification bell to make sure that you are notified each time I upload a new video. I hope you guys are enjoying this Carnivore Mom series. It has been my pleasure to record it for you, and I hope you guys have a blessed rest of your day. Bye for now.